What would you say is the failure that you're most proud of, or the time that something didn't go right that you're most
Mhm.
proud of in your career?
I would say, well, first of all, failure is an opportunity to learn from what just happened, to pivot, to make some changes, and to improve. Okay, and I also have had other businesses and companies, and some have been successful, some not so much so, but all of them help lay the foundation to moving forward. So I think it's actually a good thing. For me, it was trying the same case 3 times. Okay, a civil case, which is very unusual. It was a medical malpractice case. And the first time we tried the case, I was trying the case with a friend of mine who's a defense attorney that hadn't lost a case in 8 years. Okay, he's very good at what he does. That's his specialty. And in the first trial, about halfway through, he asked a question he shouldn't have asked a witness on the stand. It resulted in a mistrial.
Mhm.
Okay, so the next day we picked a new jury. We tried the case for about 2 weeks, and the jury came back 6-6, which is very unusual in a civil case. You usually win or lose these cases. And so we tried the case a third time. And it was a difficult case. There was a written waiver, a written informed consent form involved. It was a difficult case to start with. The third time we tried this case, 2 weeks later, it went well. You try a case 3 times, you think, okay, I'm doing a pretty good job. I know what his arguments are. He knows what mine are.
Mhm.
And because I get to go first as plaintiff's counsel, I can kind of set the tone with my opening statement. I can counter, I can anticipate what he's going to be arguing before he even opens his mouth. And the third trial went really well, Andy. I mean, we kicked their ass. He knows we kicked their ass. When the jury started coming back into the courtroom after deliberating, he leaned over to me and he said, "Mitch, I think you spanked me for about $750,000.
Mhm.
And I said, "I do too." And the jury comes back, and on the first question, was the healthcare provider negligent? Yes or no? The answer was no.
Mhm.
And the case was over,
Mhm.
and we lost the trial.
Mhm.
About 6 months later, I was at a holiday Christmas party, and the trial judge was there.
Mhm.
And he called me over, and he said, "Mitch, you tried that was one of the most enjoyable trials I've ever had the pleasure of watching. The jury got it wrong."
Mhm.
And I told him the story with opposing counsel.
Mhm.
And he goes, "What did you learn from that?" And I said, "What I learned from that is even when you do your best, even when you're prepared and you put in the time, if there are 12 people who you've never met before, you're never in control of the outcome."
Yeah.
And I've tried about 70 serious, real cases in front of juries over the last 35 years, and I've won 67 of them.
Mhm.
And so I've got a good track record. That was one of my 3 losses, but I learned from that. Number one, never be disappointed, or never allow those unexpected results, those failures, those losses to get in the way of the wins, right? Number two, what did I learn from that? What I learned from that was, after talking to the jury, that in California, medical malpractice cases are very, very difficult. In fact, my last 2 cases, I've had multi-million-dollar verdicts that were reduced down to 250,000, which is our cap here in California on general damages. It's an artificial cap. It's 40 years old. It's archaic. It should be about 1.4 million right now. And for me, my takeaway as of today, talking to you, is I'm done trying medical malpractice cases for a bunch of different reasons. The
Mhm.
artificial cap, the jury attitude towards the healthcare system when it comes to mistakes being made, which you and I know it is a big problem. But I also realized, okay, if I'm going to pick and choose my battles and pick and choose the kind of cases that I handle, I'm going to start handling a different type of case than medical malpractice. And
Mhm.
so it's, kind of goes back to learn from your mistakes, evaluate who you are, what's of interest to you, how can you get the results that you want to get for your clients. And so for me, Andy, I know it's a long answer, but that case sticks out in my mind because we tried it 3 times, and at the end I lost.
Yeah, well, it just shows you. I mean, you put all your cards out there, and they're gonna fall where they fall, But
Yeah.
as long as you do what you can do, then what else can you do?
Well, what you do is then you have another case where the other side offers you $1 on a wrongful death case that you litigate for 3 or 4 years. You take it to trial, and a jury comes back at 1.25 million. What you
Yeah.
do is you pick yourself off the ground, and you take a case that the other side says there's no liability. you litigate it for 5 years, you take it into a conservative venue in Riverside, California, and you come back with a $5.5 million wrongful death case that resulted in that 2009 Trial Lawyer of the Year award. What you do is you learn from your past experiences, you stand up, dust yourself off, you get back into the ring, you throw some punches, and you get some wins for your clients. That's what you do.
Yeah, exactly. That's my whole thing. Is the only time you fail is when you quit or you don't learn something out of it.
Exactly.
Other than that, you're moving the right way. Now,
well, or if you come up short on a triple on the motocross track, which is a fail, that's when you finally decide. That's when you finally decide in your 50s, you know what? It's time to sell the bike and start spending more time on the paddleboard. So sometimes it results in smart decisions being made, which results in a happy marriage.
Yeah.